Yo. So I wanted to do a Q&A type of deal. I don't need this. I wanted to do a Q&A deal for Cowboys draft in particular. I know I do a lot of work with, just the Cowboys stuff, but it's draft season now, and a lot of you have been asking me draft questions. So I pulled a bunch of them from my Twitter, Discord. Wasn't a bunch of people in Discord asking questions or questions I could use. So Twitter, Patreon, and from my YouTube community page or whatever. So shouts out to y'all if you asked a question and reached out to the show. The questions that I did answer, I'm pulling them. If I'm not answering your question, it's because I'm not at that point yet in draft. Yo, Voch, what do you think about this? He's a backup linebacker from what's the name state. You think we can get him in the 7th round? Like, no, I'm not that far in the draft process yet. I'll know all those people, in like April or so. But right now it's incredibly early. So no, I'm not going to get into those questions, and I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of drafting quarterback questions neither. So I'm going to do my opening statement, which is about to be this, and then I'm going to get into your questions. So my overall plan for what I want with this draft, and I think is very important, to just kind of put this out first, and that'll lay the groundwork for the rest of my thoughts. I'm not trying to move on from Dak. I'm not of the mindset that we should move on from Dak. I know a lot of people want to save his cap hit or whatever it may end up being, $38 million, $39 or whatever. They want to save that money and build a team and just draft, some rookie quarterback or whatever that looks good in college. And to be fair, there are a lot of rookie quarterbacks that look really good right now. But when Dak was in college, he looked good as well. So I would rather have the proven thing. We know Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback right now. We don't know if these guys are gonna be top 5 quarterbacks. I mean, and if they end up being better than, fine, let them be better than Dak. But if you come out and you better than Dak, then you in that Pat Mahomes conversation, and you deserve to be better than Dak. You don't need to have a Pat Mahomes to win a Super Bowl. You can have a Jimmy Garoppolo and almost win a Super Bowl. So just imagine what we can do with a Dak Prescott. I'm more so into the I'm sure I have this. I know exactly what I have with Dak. I don't know what I have with these young boys, but I would rather have. Some people would rather have the cheap quarterback and expensive team, but the Joneses don't really buy into big free agents anyway. And hell, man, like how many top tier free agents can you get with quarterback money? You know what I'm saying? You can, by the time pass rush, like you find your good pass rush, first of all, find a good pass rusher. Just use for example, right? Find a good pass rusher and then be like, oh, I'm going to spend $25 million on that pass rusher. Well, damn it, that's 75% of the money that you just saved with Dak on one guy. You know what I mean? What I would rather do is just draft a gang of guys that's going to help me. You see what I'm saying? This team ain't far. So keep your quarterback that's top 5 that can be good with a bad offensive line, that can put up points with a horrific defense, and just put multiple guys that can play on that defense. These rookie guys that are going to be on your team for 4 to 5 years. You see what I'm saying? Opposed to having a situation where you're San Francisco, you spend big money on Quan Alexander, you don't want him no more because you look at it 2 years down the line and the money's too much for you. 2 years down the line, these players that we get on these rookie deals gonna be good. CeeDee Lamb's money in 3 years gonna be good. Trevor Diggs, Neville Gallimore, Tyler Biadasz, those guys' money is gonna be good for 4 years. CeeDee Lamb 5, but their money is gonna be good for 4 years. I would rather get these really good players because I know this team can draft. I want to get the really good players for 4 years and 5, opposed to getting a big money stud dude for 4 or 5 years. You see what I'm saying? I want my big money stud dude to be my quarterback because we see how important he is to this team. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna pull up some of y'all questions and we're gonna get into them. And some of y'all asked some pretty good ones, man. Some pretty incredible questions. The rest of y'all did your best. The rest of y'all did your best. But we'll get into it though. First question from Kevin McCamick. He says, "Hey Voch, looks like the defense side of the ball doesn't have a ton of elite talent that fits the top 5 to 10 picks like we're projecting to have. What's your ideal scenario on the draft night if we end up with the top 5 pick? What player would you like for us to end up with if we pick there or end up trading down?" So, cool question, first of all. Very wordy, lengthy question, but I'm gonna chill. But yeah, I that's basically what I was alluding to. That's my big draft plan. The big problem is if we're forced to draft somebody outside of those quarterbacks or whatnot, right? So I want to take Trevor Lawrence and I want to get a ransom for it. Later on, somebody's going to ask me how much, can we get for a ransom? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I want to get a ransom for whatever quarterback is on the board when we're there. I don't think we're going to be worse than the Jets, but we have a least strength of schedule, a lower or whatever. So if we end up tying with the Jets, like if the Jets miraculously they win 2 games and we end up, just, losing the rest of our games and we tie with the Jets, then our schedule is easier. So we'll break the tie and get the first overall pick. So that's fire. But if we end up in the Trevor Lawrence conversation, then we're going to use him for draft leverage, or in my opinion, what I would want is to use him for trade leverage or whatever, and get guys to come down and get that pick and give us multiple picks. That's my dream. But if we end up if we at 5th or something, then you just got to take the best player available. Hopefully it's an offensive lineman, because it's kind of weird up in there. I don't want the pick to where I'm forced to pick where I'm at. You see what I'm saying? Like if we're at think about last year's draft. Like if we're 8th overall, then we have to draft whoever it is at 8th overall. But if we're 12th overall, we got options there. You see what I'm saying? So they have to draft Isaiah Simmons. But if I'm at 12, I can go corner here if I want. I can go, it's not smart to go safety, but I can go safety here if I want. I can get CeeDee Lamb if I want. I can go offensive line if I want. You see what I'm saying? I want to trade just a little bit back into the draft, maybe around 10 or so, so where I can maximize my options. You see what I'm saying? Opposed to just having to just draft one dude, because ain't no Chase Youngs this year. So I think that's really important that we understand that. All right, great question. Hold My Beer in the Patreon says, would you consider drafting Kyle Pitts? No, I think number 4 is good enough to make the tight ends that we have pretty good. Also, how do you feel about getting ETN in the second round and trading Zeke? Nah, nobody wants Zeke, and nobody's going to trade for his contract. They could just draft a running back with cheap. Great question though. DL in Patreon says, say we end up with a top 3 draft pick. We currently are, but can I trade out of that spot like the Lions were last year? Should we overdraft the corner? No. Or should we draft a player? Or should we draft a player that's worthy, even if it isn't the big boy? I need punctuation. That isn't the biggest need on this team, like offensive line. He's basically saying, if we can't get a quarterback, do we overdraft or do we just take the best player there, even if we don't need him? And I think you clearly got to take the offensive lineman. I don't want to take offensive line. I think Dak can play well with bad offensive linemen. Dak can't win games with the worst defense I've ever seen in my life. So what I want to do is I want to get as many guys in on his defense as I possibly can. But if I'm forced to draft Penei Sewell, play him at left guard, then when Tyron Smith boogies, you put him at left tackle, then I'm fine to do what I got. I'll do whatever I got to do with that. But I wouldn't be happy about it. I want those picks. But hey, good question, DL. Appreciate you. Andrew Amini says, is there a scenario where you would rather go after a defensive player that's already in the league? No. I don't want to trade my draft picks for, current players or anything. Like if you can give me a really good player with my 5th round pick, or like one of those 4th round comp picks or something, then we can talk about it, but I'm keeping my important picks. Louise says, based on what you know now, the current Cowboys safeties, assuming Woods and Thomas them don't come back or whatever, which safety in the draft can complement Donovan Wilson? So I'm not on safeties just yet, but Donovan Wilson is another guy on our team that can play strong and free, and I don't think Woods and Thompson are coming back. So in my mind, what I would rather do is if I can find a true free safety, and I would have to keep watching film to figure that out, but if I could find a true free safety, because it's harder to find true free safeties, if I could find one of those guys and put Donovan Wilson at strong safety, then I'll just do that. But if I can't find a free and I'm forced to play somebody at strong safety, then I'll let Donovan Wilson play free. I think Donovan Wilson has earned his reps, and Xavier Woods got a boogie. I think that's fair. Shouts out to all my Patreon people. We're doing a new thing for draft season where we're putting the long film sessions on Patreon. So those film sessions, which is like an hour, hour 33, 2 hours or whatever, however long I'm watching film, those are going to be up over there. And currently we have, let's see, Panay Sewell, Greg Russo, Carlos Basham, Michael Parsons, Patrick Surtain, and we're working on Marvin Wilson, Dylan Mose, and Alex Leatherwood. So if y'all want to watch those long form film sessions, go sign up over at patreon.com/vochlombardiyt. That link is in the description. I appreciate y'all. Frankly Football, Brandon hit me up on the Twitter machine. At what pick do you think Dallas can pick BPA with a clear conscience, quarterback and wide receiver excluded? And that's a fair question. I think it's got to be around 3 to 5, to where it goes back to if we can't trade back. You know what I mean? If we can't get out of that pick and we're forced to make a pick, then once those quarterbacks are gone or whatever, you got to ask yourself, like, are you drafting Pat Surtain at 3rd overall? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Or like Michael Parsons 3rd overall. That's bad for my soul. So at that point, I think the pick is Panay Sewell. And the only reason why Panay Sewell is the pick, not because we need offensive line, because I want to draft O-line later. And in a perfect world, I want defense early. But in that scenario, Panay Sewell is the best player on the board right now. And I can't go against best player on the board. Now, if I was in charge and I was a little aggressive and I couldn't lose my job, then I just draft the best quarterback that's there. If the best player on the board is quarterback, I just draft them and put them on my bench and just hold them for ransom. Somebody will trade for him. Somebody will trade for him. And they can act hard if they want to. All right, Voch, we ain't sending you picks for Trey Lance. We just gonna wait till you just don't pick him. All right, cool. Wait till I don't pick Trey Lance. Then I pick Trey Lance and you ain't got quarterback. Fine. Send me them picks then, player. And I could probably hold you for an even bigger ransom because you want to play hardball. But that's just my thoughts on that. If I was a GM and I couldn't get fired, that's what I'd do. But appreciate you, Brandon, from Frankly Football, sir. So we're going to jump around here a little bit. I wanted to get to my man's Joe Sandberg. He had a really good question. He did it on the YouTube. So his question was, after doing some research on teams that need quarterbacks, what would you receive back from trading from 3 to 8, 11, 12, 16, mid-first, right? To move from 3rd overall to mid-first, what can we get back from there? So that made me want to do a little bit of research, Joe Sandberg, to counter your research. So what we're looking at, and I'll have the Tankathon order up on the screen somewhere. What we're looking at is we're looking for these teams that are in the middle, that are good or winning, but don't have quarterbacks, like the Bears or whatever, 49ers, the Colts can be in that conversation. We're looking for those teams to jump in front of the bad teams that don't have quarterbacks, like Washington maybe up there. You see what I mean? And there's multiple other teams in that category or whatnot. But I wanted to pull some old trade up trades just to kind of get an idea of what moving up looks like. So moving up from 27th to 10th overall to get Pat Mahomes, a 27th overall pick, a 3rd rounder, and a 2018 first round pick was given up to move up to number 10 to get Pat Mahomes. Let's see, Julio Jones, this was a while ago in 2012, but a first rounder, 2nd rounder, 4th rounder, then a 2012 first rounder and 4th rounder moved Atlanta up to Cleveland spot. I think that was from the 20s or something, to move up to number 6th overall to get Julio Jones. That's plenty compensation. So you can get a big, you can get a big pot from one of these playoff teams willing to move up to get a quarterback. That could be it could be the Saints if they don't like James. I don't know. Josh Rosen to move like 3 spots or whatever from the middle to like 10th overall or something. That's a first round pick, a 3rd and a 5th. Not a lot, but that's in the mid rounds. What I thought were most important were these quarterback trades here. Jared Goff, all right? So for the Rams to move up to get the 1st overall pick, first of all, the Rams got the 1st overall pick, a 4th rounder, and a 6th rounder, but they received back, this is what I want, y'all. Oh, Lord, hold on to something. Everybody just hold something. What I want, okay, is they moved up to get Jared Goff. The Rams moved up to get Jared Goff. A 1st round pick, 2 seconds, a 3rd round pick, then a next year's 1st and 3rd round pick. You can have my 4th and my 6th if that's the compensation that I'm getting back. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of vibes that I'm into. Yeah, you could draft Trevor Lawrence, sure. I want this first, 2 seconds, third, first next year, and third next year. You see what I'm saying? That's what I want. Moving up to get Carson Wentz, the Eagles, they traded with the Titans. So the Eagles gave up the 8th overall pick, the 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. Then next year, which was 2017, a 1st round pick. Then a year after that, 2018, 2nd round pick. That's another really good haul. So that's 2 firsts, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th, in different time periods or whatever. That's what I want for the Cowboys. I want the Cowboys to get multiple picks over multiple years for this pick that somebody can use to go get a quarterback. I don't need a quarterback. I got 4. I got Dak. Dak is my quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's young, elite, 27 years. Elite. He's elite now. Whatever. I'm getting in my Dak bag. Right? 27 years old. You know what I'm saying? Going into his prime. I think quarterbacks get good when they turn 30. They get really good when they turn 30. Yes, you can save some money. That's cute, saving money. Pay your quarterback and get this haul, man. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a really good question from Joe. And going back, looking at the research, I think it's worth putting that out there. So appreciate you, Joe. I thought this question was incredible. It's Snow Sense Go. Okay, this on Twitter or whatnot. He says, Voch, how important is it to discern between if Mike Nolan is the guy and not before the draft? And how much does it matter if we have the right defense coordinator before we make all these picks in the draft? I thought that was an incredible question because Mike Nolan could be your guy, right? And if you're drafting for Mike Nolan's defense, cool. But if you fire Mike Nolan and bring in a dude doing a different scheme, then you got to draft accordingly there. You know, to where the Cowboys last year, we like penetrating players. You know, you may like Kwity Paye from Michigan more because he's more of a slasher upfield explosion guy. You know what I mean? But in Mike Nolan's defense, you may want to look at a Marvin Wilson dude, like a true nose 2-gapping guy. You see what I'm saying? So it's different types of techniques that come with, you know, different types of players with different types of schemes. So I think it's fair to ask, hey man, if Mike Nolan's not going to be the guy, is the next guy that we're bringing in, is he going to run a 4-3 or a 3-4? You see what I'm saying? Are we going to be 2-gapping with him? Are we going to have that same philosophy? So I think that's good. That's a really good question. I don't have the answer for you necessarily. The question is how important. The answer is super damn important. We need to know who's going to be defensive coordinator before we go into the draft, so we know exactly what scheme we're running, so we know what players fit that. Winston Bontegal Jr. on Twitter. Shouts out to you. He says, is Zach Wilson a legitimate pick at third overall? I think so. And I picked this question because I need people to understand, like, that's what we need. We need as many really, really good. We need quarterbacks and offensive linemen, right? We need, and wide receivers as well. This is what we need. We need quarterbacks to go first. We need quarterbacks to be so good that teams got to run up in the top 4 to get them. And that enables us to trade back to like 10, 11, or 12, wherever we end up trading back at. Then we need the offensive line and receiver to flood picks 5 through wherever the hell we at, so that all the defensive talent can fall to us. You see what I'm saying? So that's just a part of the things that we need. It's a very complicated scheme that we putting together, or that I'm thinking about in my mind. But if we can pull it off, it'll end up being for the greater good. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I think Zach Wilson is legit. That's my quarterback from BYU. But I think we need him to be legit in order to maximize this thing and for this plan to go off right. Step up to get your rep up. Slick C says, what teams do you think are potential trade back candidates? The price of the brick the price of the brick just went up with this loss, so we can get a bag for 8th, 3rd overall pick, 4th, 5th overall pick. Well, the price of a brick did indeed go up. There's some inflation in the streets because the block is indeed hot, sir. I agree. But teams that we're looking for, and I got Tankathon pulled up. I'm looking at it on my screen, so I'm looking this way, but y'all can look wherever the hell I got it at. I'm looking at possibly New England. Okay. Washington's behind us, but I want a bigger haul. But I wouldn't mind moving back to 5, but they could just wait around and just get their guy, because the Giants ain't going to get a guy. But the key is you want these other teams to jump in front of the Giants or whatever, right? Pardon me. You want them to jump in front of Washington. because Washington is going to take a quarterback from you. The Giants aren't. The Giants probably going to take Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell if we don't take them. So the teams that we're looking at, Patriots at 8, Atlanta at 11. Don't shoot the messenger. Possibly. Minnesota, just a team that's put together already, but maybe not liking Kirk Cousins. Denver, Chicago. I skipped right over San Francisco. My bad. They're in play. Hey, I don't think people want to hear this, but I think Cleveland is absolutely in play to look at their quarterback position. Indy is definitely a team. And getting into the playoffs, hey man, Philly might be in conversation too. I don't know. But yeah, Vegas around. Vegas seems to be cool. I don't know if Vegas gonna be there very long. Tampa Bay might be in this conversation because Tom Brady's 57 years old. He may not be there next year, and this team is built to win now. That's interesting, though. The Tampa Bay conversation, I never thought of it. Tampa Bay is very interesting. How crazy would it be if the Jets did something? If the Jets did something to move up against them, I don't know. The Jets got they got Seattle's pick. Buffalo's fine. Green Bay, Kansas City, Saints possibly. We talked about the Saints earlier because Drew Brees leaving. So yeah, those are your candidates to possibly move up. Javaris on Twitter says, at 3rd overall, do I take Micah Parsons, Caleb Farley, or Patrick Surtain? No, I think there are going to be other options for us at 3, whether it be trading back or at 3. I think the offensive lineman is the right pick to make, but that's just that. But I said that to say I don't think that high of Patrick Surtain. I like Farley. Allow me to watch a little more film on him. I watched him in passing. I don't see a Jalen Ramsey type cat that I could take at 3rd overall from him. I see a good corner. But just not that kind of cat to where you're taking him at 3rd. And I like Micah Parsons. I just don't like him enough to take him at 3rd. I don't think he's that kind of guy neither. Really good linebacker, though. But 3rd overall, I don't think so. On the YouTube, Mr. Cool Man says, if we sign Cheeto, then I think our cornerback position is just okay. And maybe we draft a D-line in the 1st round or a linebacker. I think that's interesting thinking about the guys that we're bringing back. Like, what guys can we bring back are stopping us from drafting somewhere, and I don't think anybody. Like, I like Tristan Hill, but if we can get a stud at 3 tech, I think we're going to end up going for that guy. I think we're going to be looking at 1 tech, but I don't think Antoine Woods is stopping anybody from drafting 1 tech or even Neville Gallimore for that reason. I like Cheeto, and I do think Cheeto stops us from drafting corner because Anthony Brown is there already, but it depends on if we can upgrade. And I think that comes down to the best player available with our 1st round pick, wherever the hell that may end up being. If the guy that we get is clearly better than Cheeto, then let's rock. Now, what I would like to do, y'all want Patrick Surtain so bad, y'all put Cheeto and Diggs on the outside and let Pat Surtain play nickel. If y'all want to ask me, that's a fire little, no-fly zone experiment y'all want to run, but I don't think that happens in real life. But Jalen, I think regardless of Jalen being there, I think the team is going to draft linebacker at some point. If Parsons is on the board, you take him. But I don't think the team goes linebacker past Parsons. Because you don't want to just draft the linebacker for the sake of drafting the linebacker, saying, okay, we're gonna get rid of Jalen and just put in this guy, right? Jalen is better than a 2nd round linebacker or a 3rd round linebacker, so you just keep Jalen, right? But if we can clearly upgrade Jalen into a Micah Parsons type guy, and to be fair, Jalen probably gonna be better than Micah Parsons year 1. It's just that when this year is over, you go into 2022, then Jalen's going to be, it's going to be easier to get rid of his contract, and Micah Parsons will have been on the team for a year. You push him right up into that starting spot with Leighton Vander as a true Mike linebacker. So, interesting question, sir. That is my last one. Hey, I appreciate y'all. We did this in 35 minutes. I'm going to edit that down. It's going to end up being like 28 or so. We'll see. I'm going to put timestamps in this thing if I feel like it. I probably won't feel like it. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. If y'all want to tune into my long-form draft film sessions, you can go over to patreon.com/vochlombardiyt. We got the long-form joints up there. Those are fun to do. They're interesting to do. Hey, y'all seem to like them. So go sign up and go check them out. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, VOCHLOMBARDI. And we're going to probably try to do some Cowboy film throughout this week, drop some draft film through this week, do some long draft film through this week, and we'll see what happens. Y'all hold it down for the Doski, Woski, Peasky, Whiskey, man. Salute.